Alright, here's a quick tutorial on how to put together an STL file for 3D printing and to send it to the 3D printers. Alright, so the first thing, once you have your part file set up here, so here I've got my Northville logo keychain tag, and I'm going to go over to the part and right click on it, and we're going to come over to export. Okay, in the export you can name it something. I'll leave it as Northville logo keychain maybe. You can see here I chose STL as the file. Binary is fine. If you want to change it to inches or whatever you created your file in, so mine was in inches, so I'll leave it at inches. And then finally resolution, I always choose fine here. That means it'll be as close to the model as possible. Right. And then we're going to choose the download option so that it'll actually save a file. That's what you would need to send to me if I was going to be printing multiple files. That's what I would be looking for. Okay, so you just hit OK. After you hit OK, it should download for you. And for mine, at least, it'll save it usually into the downloads folder. So you can see here, if I go to my Windows Explorer, I've got it under my downloads folder, and it says here, this is the keychain one I just downloaded. Okay, so typically, again, I would go ahead and save that and send that to me for printing. But if you want to set up the file yourself, this is also very helpful if you are creating your own parts in the future. That might be something you want to do. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to do is come over to add a new tab, and I'm going to go to a website called printcloud.dremel.com. Okay, we use Dremel 3D printers, and so they have their own slicer here, and that's what's going to allow you to create the 3D print file. Alright, I'm getting a slow response here, but presumably after it loads up, I actually have it on my other screen here, so it might be just moving over. Well, eventually, let's say. Eventually this should load up. If you don't have an account yet, it's free to create an account. You can use your Northville School's address, as you can see here. And once you're in here, once you create an account and it loads up, again, printcloud.dremel.com, I'm going to upload new. And here's where I grab my Windows Explorer. Again, I had my STL file that I created here, the Northville logo keychain. I'll click and drag it over. It'll load it up. It says successfully uploaded. I said save and go to my files. Okay. Once it's here, the first thing I want to do is I want to click on this repair button. And what the repair button does, it will kind of try to set it up so that it's set up for the Dremel 3D40 ID builder. Okay, so that's the one we have, 3D40. I hit fix. While this is loading up, I'll go ahead and start closing that. Okay, and now I want to work with this project here, Northville logo keychain. It says repaired, and the next thing I'm going to do is go under layout. Okay, so in the layout, I'm seeing here right now, it looks too small, and it defaults to loading it up in millimeters. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is come over to scale, and I'm going to click this one, millimeters to inches. Okay, now if I zoom back out, this looks closer to the size that I expected it to be. And so if I want to double check this, I'll click on bed. And again, like I said, this is looking better now in terms of the size. It still might be a little big. So if you want to change the scale of things, you can just change the scale right here. For example, I'll do 0.7 to make it a little bit smaller. Oops. Hold on, let me try that again. Oh, sorry, it should have been 70, not 0.7. Why is it so small? Hold on, let's try that one more time. I'm going to reset the scale, and we'll do millimeters to inches. Okay, and then one last time here, click on my part, scale, and let's scale it to 70%. Wow, it's still making it really small. Sorry here. I'm having some technical difficulties. Let me reset the scale one more time. I'll go inches. Alright, you know what? Alright, for the purpose of this example, I'll keep it at that. On bed just puts it on the table. Now typically things print from the bottom up, so I'm going to rotate this so it's sitting down flat. You may have to mess around with this a little bit. Okay, so I want it to be flat like this, and I'll put it on the bed here. And in the future, if you're printing multiple things, you might want to move it so that it's in a certain spot on the print bed. You can rotate it around so you can see it a little better. Okay, so let's just say I put it right in there in that corner. And finally, I come over here to save and slice. Okay, so next up, it'll give you a little conversion, seeing what it will look like. And you can change the layer height, so that means each layer that prints will be a certain, if you want it to be faster, you print it so that each one's further apart. If you want it to be tighter together so it's stronger, you can do it that way. Oftentimes I'll put that layer height so it's faster. Again, I don't need it particularly strong. Same with the infill density, that's how tightly the filament's going to print to each other. So 15% for me is about well. After that, if you want to create a little raft, that creates a little section on the bottom that you can break off, or supports if you need that. In my case here, I think this should print pretty well the way it is, and so I'll turn off the supports. If you want to, you could take a look at the advanced. The only thing that I usually play around with here is, again, if I have a support, what it's going to look like. This one's going to create a little skirt around it for support-wise. Okay. So finally I'll do Slice and Toolpath Preview. After I click on that, it will give me an estimate, so it'll take about an hour and a little bit to print this out. And then this is always kind of a cool little demo in terms of how it will print, so you can kind of see from the ground up. It will build it up this way with the infill like that, and then we'll have our Northville logo there. Okay, once that's all set, I'll close that. And then when I'm ready for here, I'll click on this to download it, and you can see here it'll download a file. I'll go Show in Folder, and typically speaking, if you're going to send it to me for printing, then I would want to see this STL file, the first thing that we did, and I would also want to see this G3 Drem file. So click on both of those. Send it to me either through an email, or if it's on Schoology as an assignment, you can send it to me that way.